Welcome to Dukascopy TV. The Federal Reserve has released the minutes from its latest policy meeting, which show that officials are concerned about a weakening global outlook and the surprise strength of the US dollar. Markets rallied to highs of the day as investors interpreted the Fed's stance as indicating a dovish bias. To give us his insight into the US market is Ken Veksler, Director at Accumen Management. Ken, the FOMC released its minutes last night. Do you agree that the US should be worried about the global economy?
Look, certainly. I mean, it most definitely needs to keep an eye on what's going on elsewhere, no less so than any other nation within the G10, obviously, and given its stature as a preeminent market leader and global economy itself, it most certainly needs to be aware of what its peers are doing, so to speak.
If the dollar strengthens, could there be serious problems?
Again, probably no more so than many other nations, but given the fledgling recovery that we're essentially seeing in the US, any significant further strengthening in the US dollar would certainly look to hamper the GDP growth, and there's been talk of, any sort of additional 1 or 2% strengthening of the US currency from present levels, obviously before last night, could impact the GDP count to around 0.3 or 0.4% to the negative. So this obviously is something that, would be on the radar and something that they'd have to be wary of. Rhetoric, rather, such as that seen last night in the release of the FOMC minutes, it's hard to expect too much more out of them. The dollar spent quite a number of years in the doldrums, so to speak, on the back of various monetary policy actions and obviously QE, which has had, left the currency somewhat deflated. And what we've seen in recent months is probably just an overstated mean reversion, if you will, of that previous few years. So with regards to direct intervention or something, to be done about deflating it directly, it's a hard one and in reality probably not something that the Fed would be directly involved with.
Jobless claims have fallen today. What could this mean for the economy?
Overall, I mean, the numbers in that respect are good, but again, like any set of numbers, they'll dance to any tune that you play them. The reality of it is that the long-run average now gets us back to around 2006 levels, but if close attention is paid to recent FOMC meetings and certainly the minutes last night, while the Fed is confident that there is some sort of expansion within the labour market and general growth on that front, they're not necessarily overly enthusiastic about its sustainability. So for the most part, those looking to trade US dollars in the short to medium term horizon would be buoyed by the numbers because they're definitely not bad. But if they're taken as part of the whole scenario, as obviously the Fed is doing, then they're probably not strong enough and not moving quickly enough to reassure them of a general solid economic backdrop.
Thanks, Ken. That's all we have time for today, but keep watching Dukascopy TV for more news on the market. Goodbye.